I want to ask, as we begin to kind of come to where you are now, obviously, your wife is glad that you stayed in insurance. You
Oh,
haven't
100,
had.
yeah. I would say every day after the first, right? J-Rod gets better, right?
That's
And
right.
it dips like the stock market, but
Yeah.
like you just have to get it going and then just always trust yourself to just keep moving, right? Like no matter how hard it gets, always promise yourself that you're going to hold to those same promises that you set when you first went out, right? Because you're going to get doors slammed in your face. You're going to get people telling you no. You're going to get people that jerk you around. You're going to get, other insurance companies that tell you can do something and then you can't, right? Like there are things that are just going to come up. You can prepare for everything, but you cannot prepare for everything in insurance, right? Like you can prepare, but you can't. You just put yourself in a good mood every day, whether it's you got a mantra, whether it's that you just go through your morning phase, whatever that is, whether you like to get up and read quotes, whether you like to get up and just read, but you need something to get your mind moving how people's minds move, right? Like if you all of a sudden just open up your phone in the morning and you just put it like in garbage, right? Like we know where garbage is at, but if you just put it in garbage, most likely you're going to like transmit garbage out there, right? And you're going to receive garbage, right? So that's where put yourself in a good mood, in a good state of mind to listen and to comprehend, because like I said, 70% of my day consists of listening. It really does. Yeah. The other 30% consists of me comprehending what that 70% was and finding a solution for it somehow, period.
There you go, man. So that actually leads into really my next question. How do you feel that having a license has helped, or working in this industry, right? I'll say having a license because you need.
Yeah, because that's the barrier, right?
How do you feel that working in this industry, as a licensed professional, has helped cultivate your character?
Oh, immensely, right? Because I would say I grew up in Podunk, little town, Roseau, Minnesota. God, I love it, right? But it's very box, right? Like we didn't have a lot of outside things, right? Where you're like, oh, that gave me a lot of diversity in my life. So we didn't have it, right? So I would say it's given me a ton of diversity on all different lines of how people act, how people show up, how people like purchase stuff, how people think about buying things. So it really gives you you start to understand and can gauge on when somebody's serious and when somebody's just pulling your chain, right? And when somebody's really there for the long haul with you, and when somebody's just there because you have the cheapest premium in the house right now, right? Because there are those people too. And I always tell a lot of my agents the same thing. If you won that because of price, one day you're going to lose that because of price. So do not let yourself be price bound, right? Like make it because of you, right? Because, hey, you're the one that's there to help solve the problems with their help, right? Because they're the ones divulging information. And then I just put it into the computer and give them what I have experienced and say, hey, look, based on my experience of you and the stories you're telling me, these are the changes that I would suggest, or these are the options that I would look at. And then let's start to, which one would you like to dig into further? And then once we dig in further, then it's more understanding and more learning. So the learning and understanding for me never stops. So it means it never stops for my customers either, because I don't want them to feel like I got the best, forever. I want them to understand they got the best right now, but we got to constantly try to evolve, because the company that might be competitive today might be out of business in 10 years. You never know. You never do know. There's tens of thousands of life insurance companies, as you know, in America, right? Tens of thousands, right? How do you know which insurance is the best? You don't. You basically just try to do the best with what you have at your fingertips, and then you just leave nothing else to chance. I always start with main carriers, so preferred carriers, and then you look for what their loss ratios look like. And then you look at what their, Better Business Bureau standings look like. And you can look at their financials. If they're a publicly traded company, you can look at their financials. So if those things matter, then you can pay attention to that. Because I'm always a big proponent that paying attention pays, It really does. At the end of the day, paying attention pays. So if you don't want to pay attention, then you shouldn't get angry or frustrated when it doesn't work out the way you thought it was, right? So
that's it. Got to be a student of the process.
You have to be, and it's not, and that's why we say we're the passionate ones, right? Like, I'm not going to try to educate everybody on things they don't need to or want to be educated on. Now, if they want to go into the weeds with me, God bless you, we'll go into there for 5 hours, right? But I just like to talk to people about 30,000 foot perspective, right? Like, let me see from the top down and see if I can see anything that looks out of place, because I'm a pattern guy, right? So I like to look at people's, their whole portfolio of insurance, see if I can find a pattern with what was your purchasing history and why do you keep doing this? Because it looks like because of that, you're hurting your insurance score. And then we can help to improve that insurance score by not making claims that are hurting that, right? Because a lot of people are like, well, I just want to make a claim because I have the policy. Correct. But sometimes it's worth paying out of pocket for, say, that small little glass damage you have versus making the claim and then eating it down the road in the premiums, right? So, or even when we talk to people, I know you brought it up in the beginning, health-wise, right? So we talk to people about, are there things that you can do in your life, right, that will help predict how your life insurance and your health insurance, how those premiums may look at the age of 40, 50, 60, 70, right? There's a lot of companies out there that are trying to help you predict those models, right? And we work with a lot of companies from a group perspective that can monitor those things. And then we even have ways to mitigate when we see losses that may come. We can put in special products that will then mitigate that particular loss, where you say, okay, now I got that covered, and no matter what happens, I can afford that premium, but I can't afford that deductible for that thing. So you can help out with certain things, so there's ways to mitigate. And that's where I'm like, if you can help people mitigate their cash out, right? So the premiums that they're paying, I always for that, right? But I also blend it with benefits, right? Because you can take everything out of a policy to make it the cheapest, but then when they go to make a claim, then there's nothing there to claim on, right, brother? Right? So I always try to talk to people from adequacy, right? In insurance, there's a word that they like to use, and it's called adequate coverage, right? And then I like to call more than or less than of that, right? So more than just means that you're not over covered. It just means that you got superior coverage. And undercovered, less than adequate coverage doesn't mean that you're not covered. It just doesn't, it means that you might have to stroke a check, or you might have some something that is your commitment versus the insurance company's commitment. If you do a less than, right? Where I say adequate, you should just have to pay your deductible or pay whatever you think you have to for that policy, and then the rest should be covered. That's the way that we try to talk to people.
It's risk management, right?
100%. That's 100% what it is. And a lot of people just think that risk management means that they try to protect the most they can for the least amount they can. And I'm like, no, that's not right. No, we have to understand what your business does, right? Because that's the thing. What does your business do? How much does it make? How much do you spend in this? How much do you do in that? Do you do it across state lines? How many people do you have? What wage do they have? What kind of industry are you in? Those are all just the top layer, right? Once you start digging in, man, it's like roots. And then we can really find out, like, you're going to have an issue here if you don't protect this, because based on my experience, you can give people the big picture. And that's what I try to do. Hey, look, this is just the big picture of where I see things going. You can choose to protect this, and I think it'll help with this, or you can choose to not protect it, but you might have a liability of this then, just so that everybody understands. That's all I want is, if you understand, then I'm happy, because then you made the decision on your understanding, not mine, right? That's what we want everybody to do.
You connected the dots.
Correct. Tell me what the picture looks like, right? Because that's your interpretation. I can connect the dots, but it's your interpretation. Does that look good to you, or do we need to do different dots, right?
There you go. I got two questions, man. Once again, I appreciate you taking the time, but I have two more questions for you.
All right, brother.
The first is, man, you've always had a ton of energy. I know that with, your team, and for those, when you hear PMA, that's the organization that we used to work together.
Yep.
Different divisions, but both of us were working with that organization. And, I used to see pictures of David, jumping off of stuff that people used to share, doing all kinds of stunts, and always just a lot of energy, just tons of high energy. His team loved him. At this point in your career, I mean, 19 years, you've had success, you're running your own firm, you're still continuing to build. How do you stay motivated?
I asked myself
before you answer, that's question one. Question two is for someone else who's getting ready to join this industry, who's thinking about getting into it, what tidbits would you have for them? So one is, how do you stay motivated? And then two is for someone who's getting ready to join, what words of wisdom would you have for them?
Now, those are two awesome questions, and two that, yeah. Okay, so here's what I would say. First thing is, what makes me motivated is that I truly love this business. I didn't ever, again, 9 years old, 18 years old, 27 years old, none of those, because I started insurance truly at 30. I think I was 29 years old when I first started, when I got back with PMA, and then the last, 12, 13 years have been me just hammer it this way, right? I think I had a why, which was, I don't want to be managed. I want to manage, right? And I've looked at industries where I can do it the quickest, right? And insurance was one of those. And again, it's not that I went out there searching for insurance. It's just, that's my experience of it, is that people that care about people, again, the same things that get you success in insurance are going to be the same things that get you success when you manage others, which is part of the business too, because it goes to your second point. How do you stay in this business? Find mentors, find leaders, find peers, okay, that are not just 1 month in the business, that are not just a year in the business. Find people that you can hook onto that are 10 years in the business, because you know what? There's guys out there like me that I love teaching. I love helping guys, and I don't take anything for it. I don't need, I would just, because I want more better insurance people out there, because then I don't have to come and fix everybody's mistakes, right? I don't want that. So I would say the biggest thing to staying in this business is to continue to learn, because there is so much to learn in this business. If you think you know it all, you're going to be out in the next probably year, right? Once you have that mentality that I've learned it all and I know it all and I can just sit back and make this easy money, you're going to be out of the business very shortly, right? But it's those people that are hungry to teach, hungry to educate, hungry to help, like myself. That's why I'm so passionate, because there's so many, every day I drive, I know there's 10,000 people that I drive past that I could help some way, somehow. And that's why we just try to make ourselves visible, so that if somebody sees what we're talking about, maybe they'll look at us and say, hey, look, that's somebody I want to hook up with and connect with, because they seem like they know something about this industry, right? And then I would say the last thing about staying in this industry, be compliant, 100%. It may hurt. I hate to use the word hurt, but it will limit you on how fast you go, right? But the compliance part is what will keep you there forever. So if you establish a good foundation of compliance, just means learn that what you can and cannot do in insurance, learn what you can and cannot do in front of people and in front of businesses, and just keep your nose clean. And I keep telling my guys and my wife, put your head down and then look up 10 years and look at everything that you've accomplished. But if you try to look up 10 weeks later, 10 months later, you'll see some cool things, bro. Look at the back of your wall there. Some of those things probably came in less than a year, but a lot of those plaques and a lot of those accolades, dude, came after 10 years in the business, right? At
least 5 or 6.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Anything that I got within the first year. I didn't get anything in the first year.
No, I mean, you might get rookie of the year.
I got a certificate.
There's a couple things where people are like, oh yeah, look at that guy. But I'm saying that doesn't make you even good. You got to put your head down, do those same things for 10 years, right? Yeah, even in basketball, football, they don't crown anybody after week 1. Look at my Packers, bro. They look like they should be the first draft pick this year, right? But it's just learn by doing and learn by asking, and always ask, never assume. Always ask, never assume. In insurance, always ask. Always.
Hey man, look, if someone wants to ask you some questions
Anytime, brother.
more about this business, how do they get in contact with you? How do they get in contact with Right Quote, and find out more about what's happening out in Colorado as well?
I appreciate you, man. Yeah. So our website is www.rqthat'swho.com. So it reads like RQ That's Who. So it's Right Quote That's Who.com. So our tagline is who's right quote? It's us. That's who. So basically, it's just kind of a rhetorical question, right? So, but it's www.rqthat'swho.com. My direct phone number is 719-820-8833, and then my email is david@rqthat'swho.com. But yeah, anytime anybody's got any questions about business insurance or just insurance in general, or how to get, like a lot of these states too, like there's tricks to them. So if, people got questions about states, I think we're licensed in like 27 states now. So, if you've got questions about anything, I'm more than happy to help. So.
And look, if you just have questions about, communicating and
100%
talking to people, matter of fact, if you want to get recruited into the business and you're looking for, someone who can help you with that process, David not only can help you with that, but he'd also be, someone who's going to be great to help mentor you, through that process and make sure that you're, on the right road and focused on the right activities as 100%. Well. Business that pays is a business that stays. And this man is paid, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you once again.
I appreciate you, J-Rod. You are awesome, dude. And keep doing your thing, because you are a light. You're an inspiration. And I'm telling you, man, like, you have my attention, and I appreciate the heck out of you. And I hope that everybody listening to this understands how passionate this guy is about insurance. And, you can help too, you can help too, so if people want to talk to somebody that's experienced in the business, J-Rod's got it all too. So I appreciate you, dude. And keep hammering it. And anytime we can chat again, I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you once again. This is Rob Powell signing off. David Baxter, Right Quote in the building. And this is You Should Get a License. Maybe you heard something that made you, think maybe you should get a license. All right. Until next time. We'll take care. Right.
Appreciate you, buddy.